Hello, solar people, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Trey, and today we're going to be doing character work for the project HBH, Heaven Between Hell. And that character is this character, the main character, Dog. And I really like this loose sketch that I did in Clip Studio Paint. It just has a feel about it. It's very gestural. There's not much to it. I just really like how this one came out. So this sketch led me to do a sketch on top of it, which is more developed, more refined, getting everything into place so I could ink it later. But, you know, there's always this less is more sometimes, where it just feels like, you know, you can work on it, you can sketch on it and all of that. And it looks great. Relatively. But also there's this. I did this a while ago, but I really like the one on the right because the one on the left looks too old. Have some ink. I'm gonna get to inking. So when I ink, I'm using a brush, the Sable Series 7 number 3. And I'm trying to get used to it. I'm trying to get used to the tools while also working on characters. And I'd like to get all of the main cast done for this month. And we're starting with our lead character, Dog. And what I like about the character is that he's different from the other characters that I've made, and that he's a disaffected youth. He's cynical, he's sharp, he's smart, and he's trying to get by in a cyberpunk world that has pretty much gone mad. There's, corporations doing nefarious things. The uptown side, the downtown, high glittering side. But on his side, which is a wild west of a city of New LA, Neo LA. And I like that there's this kid who's just trying to survive. And I always like cyberpunk stories, or pretty much any stories really, where the people are just trying to live and there are forces larger than themselves, and whether they live or die, succeed or not, the world will continue to spin without them. That there is no real heroes. He's the hero of this story, but he's, in this world, the world doesn't care. It'll just keep moving. It doesn't have to know who you are or what you're doing. It'll just keep spinning. And he's just trying to he's just trying to live pretty much. And then he gets involved with these other 5 main cast characters. And some of the impetus for this was Cowboy Bebop, Battle Angel Alita, pretty much every cyberpunk story I've seen, read, all of that. I think it's just cool. It's, high tech, low lives is how cyberpunk has often been described, and I like that concept. And so, yeah, Dog is my interpretation of the stories I want to tell, kind of in this world of cyberpunk. Now I'm not sure a cyberpunkness about it, but it's not, especially for him, he's not technologically advanced. He's he can make stuff, and he dabbles with found tech, or, you know, trying to find ways to pretty much just survive. And so he appropriates stuff that he finds junkyards and thrift shops and all of that, whatever he can get his hands on, so that he can develop for his own uses, defensive, offensive, just to do his job and go about his day. And that is the early, pretty much outline. I got the basics of it. Usually I just start with getting in the key points. And now it's time for refining and detailing and all of that. Now, about this series, HBH, Heaven Between Hell, I wanted to do the inking a bit differently. Usually in my inking, I use a lot of ink wash, and I think I do that because I've done watercolor a lot in the past, and so I try to take the things from watercolor and put it into another medium like inking. But I think this time I would like to challenge myself by doing something different. And by the way, just a note on his hair. I love his hair. He has this frohawk thing, which I don't see too often, but I just do these, what do you call them? Pigtails, like that curly Q looking. It's not detailed or complicated. It's just swiggles like a pig's tail. And I do that, a lot of that for his hair. And I just like how that turns out. But anyways, like I was saying, coming from watercolor, I think I have used ink wash as kind of a crutch now. And so for HBH, I'd like to do more black and white, less value oriented. Like the world is less values and more black and white, even though there's lots of nuance in all of that. But just the concept to me of trying to do more straight black and white. And also, I was thinking about Yoji Shinkawa, who does the artwork for Metal Gear Solid, and how loose some parts can be, really, really loose, and some parts can be really defined. I kind of like to lean somewhat into that. I have no idea how well or poorly I can, or even if I can pull this off. I don't know. But I don't even quite know what that looks like. And that's kind of why I'm doing this character inking, to try to figure that out. And usually, when you're making something, you have a concept of what it could be. And sometimes you want to try something new that you haven't done before, whether it's to add spice or keep it interesting for yourself, or just to stretch your artistic limits. But yeah, I'd like to have less values, more stark black and white. And I don't know exactly how I'm going to do that, but hopefully I'll figure it out. And that's the cool part about starting a new project. You don't know exactly what you can do with it, where it will go. You're just sometimes just along for the ride. But that's a lot of the concept. So far, I like it. It's loose. It's more gestural than I would normally. Well, maybe that's not true. I'm not exactly as an artist, sometimes you can figure out where your affinities lie. And I am not a very tight or drawing person. I don't even know exactly how to how to say that. There are different types of artists, and some people are very great at rendering, and the rendering on, like, they can draw every little vein and crease and dirt speckle on a person, and you're like, wow, that's amazing. And I'm not that. I'm not. I, I don't exactly want to be that. Usually you have to figure out lean into your strengths or what you like to do. And I've always loved animation and the looseness, because you have to draw a lot, to make an image look like it's alive. There will be a lot of drawings, and you have to simplify a complex subject down to simple shapes so that you can replicate those shapes over and over again to make it move. And I've kind of always done more of that than the rendered style. And so Dog has a lot of, and so I think this image has a lot of that, where it's very loose, but that's kind of why I like it. And I don't even know if the cyberpunkness reads, and I don't even know exactly what that is. I have an idea, lights and technology and implants and all of that, but I'm not exactly sure how pronounced I'm going to have that, especially on the low side. That Dog roams around. But that's kind of also why I'm doing it, where you can figure it out. What does this world look like? And that, I believe, is Dog. It's loose. It's got some dark and light, some line weights. He looks youthful enough for me, which the other one didn't quite look. Like, this looks like the 13 to 14-year-old that I was thinking of in my head, while the one on the left is a little bit older. Maybe he becomes more that, but this youthful Dog. Yeah. So anyways, that was me inking Dog for HBH Project. Thank you for joining me. Take care and keep shining, and I will see you on the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.